Initially, all of the albums I made were collaborations with Avery. In like middle school and early high school, we put together a bunch of instrumental albums with Mixcraft. Didn't write any of it. It was all just pre-made, pre-recorded music loops that came with the program that we stitched together and said, hey, look, we made an album, so much fun. It was really awkward explaining that to somebody, like, hey, check out this song I made. And they're like, wow, is that you playing guitar? No. Oh, is that you playing drums? No. None of that is me. I didn't write or record any of that. Around 2008, I started realizing that stitching together loops was not doing it for me anymore. I wasn't having fun doing it. I wanted to write music, not fake it. And so around 2009, I came up with the genius idea that I was going to split away from Avery. You know, who needs him? And I'm going to make a solo record at age 15, I think it was. And I remember like freshman year of high school, I think it was, I was like writing down plans and like songs I was going to write. This first album was a disaster and took forever because I didn't have much inspiration and I'd never done anything like this before. Like I just recently figured out how to program virtual instruments with Mixcraft and actually write my own melodies and stuff. And so around 2009, I decided I was going to make an album and it was going to be called Gesundheit. And I was just going to write like, you know, maybe 8 or 10 or so songs. And I was going to put them together in like a zip file or something. And I was going to send it to my friends, put it up on YouTube. And it was going to be lots of fun. It was going to be really cool. So Gesundheit was my first solo album. And it was very weird because I was 15 and I was inexperienced. I didn't know how to write. I didn't know how to mix. I didn't have any inspiration at all. And so I really had very little experience with virtual instruments. So I was like, you know, whatever, I'll just do it. And I still have that album. It ended up, I believe it has 7 tracks on it, was all I could squeeze out of me. And it took like a year to make. I was very heavily inspired on that album, I remember, by Peter Gabriel. Like the second track, Without a Care, was just me trying to sound like Peter Gabriel, I remember. And I actually think the instruments on that track turned out pretty cool, but the vocal melodies and the lyrics and stuff were just very forced and very just, oh, I need to write vocals for this song and I'm gonna do it no matter what. And so it's not very good. There's like a really jazzy, funky song on there called Smoke and Mirrors that I was pretty happy with, which was all like organ and swing drums, you know, like, and I wrote about like the government spying on you. Britannia, you might know that song. I think I've
definitely heard it.
Yeah, we've performed it live like once, I think, with the Sexy Einsteins. That was a Sean original, actually, and that was on Gesundheit, the first album. I came up with Britannia. I consider that like the single from the album. It's definitely the most radio friendly and it's the catchiest. You know, I came up with it originally when I was playing Counter-Strike. I remember I was just goofing around like shooting random bots and I started going, Britannia, Britannia, and I don't know why or how or like where that came from, but I was like, wait, that's really catchy. I can turn that into a song, and that's all I had. I had that one riff, da 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 da, and that's the only riff in that entire song. It's like 4.5 minutes, and there's one riff. But I think it's pretty catchy, and the mixing, like the production of it, it's terrible. I was using a microphone that was like this big, and I didn't know how to balance audio levels or anything. So like the vocals totally dominate the tracks, and they're incredibly staticky, and the drums and the bass and stuff can barely even hear it. It's all offbeat. It's all misaligned. It's great. I love it. After Gesundheit, you know, I realized that, I don't think at the time I knew how bad that album was. I knew it wasn't great, but, you know, I was like, yeah, I'm so cool. I'm like a musician. And so I wanted to make more. And so I did. I made a whole bunch of albums, like around 2009, 2010-ish. I made, after Gesundheit, it was Even the Mundane, and then it was The Physics of It All, and then it was whatever the 4th album was, Semi-Serious. That was the instrumental one. I learned a lot as I started making these albums. It was basically just me practicing music